Gentlemen, and welcome to AOR Hype Energy F3 League here on the PlayStation 4. My name is Gio Maldonado, and I'm bringing you coverage here from this amazing race we've got in prospect here at Suzuka in Japan. Unfortunately, Austin cannot be with me here tonight. He is suffering from a bout of illness at the moment. So you've got me for this evening for this, I must say, a very, very intriguing prospect in front of us at this moment in time. Just looking ahead, we are racing here at Suzuka. The track was officially opened back in 1962. The first F1 race was actually conducted in 1976. It's got 18 turns, 8 left-handers, 10 right-handers. The length of the circuit stretches to 3.609 miles with a kilometre length of 5.807. Currently leading the Drivers' Championship at the moment is Yone Sim Racing, who is currently in the game. He is MNT_Yone, and he is now, since the Russian Grand Prix that we conducted just before Christmas and the New Year, Benidorm winning that one, closing that gap within 3 points now. So Benidorm in P2 in the championship, Ian Motti and Table Clan both on 117 points, but with just the way races are carried out, Ian Motti is in P3 of the championship. Be interesting to see what these guys have going on. I'm just going to load up my my details here for you, just to keep you guys posted as to what's going on in this league race. Just looking now, the cars are beginning to go out. We're keeping an eye on them now. Marco Kriesman still yet to come out. LR Slimbo is just making his way on his outlap as well. So a lot of these drivers now will be seen to be warming up their tyres to make their initial make their initial fastest laps at the start of this qualifying session. Just seen there Marco Kriesman leaving the pit bay. So's VRT Aero. Be interested to see what we've got in prospect here. So now we're just on board here with MRL_Basti. He's making his way around now the Dunlop curve, and he'll be heading towards the first of the Degners as he makes his way around. The Pink Panther of the Racing Point will be making their way around now towards the hairpin bend around the back. And this is where you need to be really cautious on the brakes to ensure that you're in the right gear to get a nice exit out of this bend, and surely that will be what they're looking out for in this session, to get the maximum time available to them and really capitalise on a pole position spot on this grid. But we're keeping an eye on here. MRL Basti, he makes his way around the spoon curve. Lost a little bit of the back end there. Obviously the tyres might still be a little bit cold. He might need to warm these up just a little more. But he makes his way down on the straight heading towards they'll be faced with a couple of chicanes there. The Casio Triangle being one, and the last curve around the back. But he's looking in good shape. Let's see what he can pull off now. The ERS is up to 97%, so he's got plenty of power there. Let's see what lap he can pull off. And he heads on the home straight now as he makes his way down towards the first corner, which is almost like a swooping right-hander. He makes his way around. Careful on the brakes. This is where you really need to apply the power. Oh, he slipped a little bit there, and that's not going to help his lap time as he makes his way towards the snake. Again, careful on the power here. You want to go easy on the throttle. Do not push down too quick. You could lose shape. Makes his round. Jumping on the curves there. You want to be careful on those two. He makes his way around towards the Dunlop curve after the anti-bank curve, and easy on the power. He comes round. Now smack it down into full. He's in gear 7. Now you could take this one in full if you wanted to. He's dropped off and dropped a gear and down to 3 out of here just to get a nice exit out of the anti-bank, out the Degners into the hairpin bend. And careful on the power out into, and straight on the power now, heading towards. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. I don't think that's necessarily so much of an issue right now. I think it might just be cars slowing down, letting others past as he makes his way around the spoon curve. And he wants to get a nice exit here. A little bit of slickness here. Maybe struggling with the traction. Maybe those tyres aren't quite warm enough just yet. As he makes his way down on the straight. It'd be interesting to see what the initial laps are. Andre Deloku posting a 1:27.983 to get things underway here. But we'll just keep following MRL Basti, just see what he knocks up now as he comes round the last curve. And he's coming straight back into the pit, so obviously not happy with his lap time. We're following NT Yone, who is the leader in the Drivers' Championship as it stands, and his actual name in in AOR's standings is Yone Sim Racing. So if you see his name there, obviously the Yone gives it away, but if you look in the tables, that's his name on the driver's standings as he makes his way on the straight, heading down towards a little left-hander where he'll later be faced with the Casio triangle into the last curve now, and he comes into it looking very positive through those final bends. Just seen LR Slimbo post a 127.816. I'm sure we can get closer to that 126 mark. MNT Yone also notches a 127.938, and he makes his way around. So they all seem to be setting the pace around about the late 127s mark. So that's a good showing from those drivers just to get the ball rolling. Still a long way to go, mind. We've got over 13 minutes of qualifying here, so lots of time for drivers. Like we see, we haven't really had many. Well, we've still got a few to leave the pits. We've got well, they've left the pits, but they're on their out laps. But Jaquita just coming across the line now. He's about to start his first fast lap as he makes his way around the curve at the first corner, heading towards the snake. So you want to be easy on here because the car can throw you off through this section as he makes his way around. Jaquita obviously not overly, I've got to say, I think he was a little disappointed after his... we've just had Alex Musica, who's been given a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. That's not going to be good for him, and surely that's going to upset his prospects as we follow Jaquita coming up towards that hairpin bend, and he just goes down to first. He's gone down to first, back into second, obviously looking for that exit speed. First, I'd imagine he would have lost the traction of the car in first, but he's coming out in seventh now, heading up towards the spoon curve, and be interested to see what angle he takes this in. Yes, he touches the curb, lovely entrance. Now let's see what exit he can get. Comes out, very smart exit there as well, comes out onto the straight, and they've then got to head on the back stretch towards the 130R left-hander towards the Casio triangle chicane, and as he does so, this looks relatively quick. He makes his way around, and you'll then have to apply the power now as he goes around the last curve. What's he going to get here? Heading over across the line, it's a 127.8. That puts him in to P2, just behind LR Slimbo. So not a bad lap there for the Mercedes driver, obviously looking to prove a point after that Russian Grand Prix, and we all know he's very capable of doing it, and he does qualify extremely well. Just looking out here now, we've got Andre DeLoco now making his way out. He's on the snake bends as we can see Jaquita just in front of him. Just looking down, we've got Table Clan who's in the pits. He notched together on 128.4 as a preliminary lap time. Still more to come from him, I'm sure. He's currently lining up well, after his place position in Russia. He did manage to notch together some points there for Mercedes, which was good for them. And he is currently in fourth place to the championship, though joint on points with Ian Motti, who is currently in P3 of the championship. But just looking through now, Marco Kriesman now is also on his out lap. It'll be interesting to see what he can notch together, because he qualified well, and yet he was DNF'd early on in the race at Russia, unfortunately succumbing at the start to a couple of incidents there on the straight at the Russian Grand Prix. But he's now coming round the curve there. That's the Dunlop curve, heading towards the... he'll then be faced then with the Degners, which you can take, as I said before, flat out, but a lot of the drivers choose not to. They tend to take their foot off the power slightly, obviously trying to keep the cars probably as best they can onto the curb side of the track. But just looking at Marco Kriesman now, he's got 100% ERS. He's prepping those tyres ready for his fast lap. Just looking ahead, I've seen a couple of, I think a couple of little, I think look like some incidents that present themselves, but no, I think everything's okay. Like I said, it'd be interesting to see what these guys could pull off here at this track. Suzuka being one of the highlights of the F1 calendar. LR Slimbo still currently, as we said before, holding that 127.816 position. We're now into the final between 9-10 minutes of this qualifying session, so we're heading ever closer to what will be the squeaky bum time part of this session, and but we're still yet to see for the likes of Pit Matt, Alex Musica and LR Schloss what times they can present to these drivers. Currently no one has pitted on anything but the soft tyre, so everyone seems to be opting for that grid position at the start of the race as Marco Kriesman goes out onto his fast lap now, going around the first corner, heading towards the snake. And he needs to be very careful on the power here. Marco Kriesman, obviously a very notable driver. He's very capable. He qualified well, or reasonably well, at Russia. But we know he can do better. He's making his way around the Dunlop curve now in the yellow Renault. And will be heading towards the first of the Degners. And he's taken that relatively quick. Well done him. Comes through the second of the Degners and will head up towards that hairpin bend. And you'll then be facing Andre De Loco, Manchester Dodge, together at 127.589. So a great lap from him. But obviously still open at the moment. Still early to tell. But at 127.589 is not a bad place to start for him. And surely that will that should see him up in the top flight area of grid positions. As Marco Kriesman comes down on the back stretch now, heading towards the 130R. Which is that little left-hander that juts you ever so slightly out. You want to be careful on the power. You can take it full whack, though. As you can see, he's taking it full there. He now heads into the first, well, at the Casio Triangle. Takes it well. What's his exit going to be like out of here as he comes out of the last curve? What's it going to be like for Marco as he comes across the line? And he takes pole with a 127.519. A great lap there. Just slices Andre De Loco's time by around about, got to be about 7/10. Or a very close gap, 0.07 or so between the two. So a very good lap there from Marco Kriesman to nail that P1 with only around 7 minutes left to go now. We are about halfway through qualifying, so still plenty of excitement to come here, because we've still yet to see Pit Max. He's still in the pits, and Alex Musica is still yet to nail a lap yet as well. He's currently out on his fast lap as he makes his way around. He's just coming out the Dunlop curve now. Let's see what he's all about as he makes his way around. And he's now going to face the Degners now as he comes round. Very, very quick there as he comes through the second Degner, heading towards the hairpin bend at the top of the hill. And as he does so, it looks like we've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. I think that's probably someone slowing up, as I can see there, up towards the hairpin bend. That's no surprise there as they make their way up now. And Alex Musica coming round the next couple of bends. He'll then make his way towards the spoon curve, and you'll then be faced with the backstretch. What sort of entrance is he going to get here? Very smooth, very nice. He makes his way out on the exit. Doesn't look to be going overly quick here, but now he's on his exit anyway. So we've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. No damage there at all by the looks of it as he makes his way around now. Alex Musica coming up to the next of the chicanes, which would be the Casio Triangle chicane, coming round, and out he comes. That's okay. He makes his way around, and how fast is this going to be as he makes his way around at 128.139. That's a mid-card time. Not bad at all. Finishing in P8. Not bad at all. Not a bad place to be. You're in contention. Like, anything can happen around that first corner. Certainly when you get underway at the start of the race. If you get a good run on the outside, Jack Heater nails the fastest lap of a 127.452. So a great lap from Jack Heater. He can qualify extremely well, like we saw at Russia, because he looked positive at the Russian Grand Prix. We all thought that he'd pull off a real performance at the actual race point, but unfortunately was unable to do so. But now he has his chance again. He's currently on P1. That time could still be beaten as we reach the last 5 minutes of qualifying, but a great start for him to end up in P1 on the grid for now. Marco Kriesman currently in the pits. Andre De Loco currently on his outlap. Just looking further down, we've got Pedro, who's currently on his fast lap as well. Looks like he's going a bit careful at the moment. Just following now, MRL Basti. He's on his outlap too. And on his fast lap, sorry, and making his way up towards the spoon curve. Let's see what time he can put together as he makes his way around the spoon and heads towards the exit. What sort of exit is he going to get? Probably a little off the power than what he'd like as he comes onto the backstretch. What's it going to be like as he heads round towards the 130R? A little left-hand bend here. Is it going to be quick as he makes his way around? Yeah, it doesn't brush the curb at all as he comes up towards the next chicane, the Casio Triangle chicane. Comes round and looks good, comes out, good exit. He's now rubbing against the last curve, comes round, but no, he's pitting. He's not happy with that one. He's coming into the pit. And so's Loca there. He's coming into the pits. Just having a look around here to see who's next for us. Andre De Loco making his outlap now. He's coming through towards the snake as he makes his way around in the Williams. Andre notching together a 127.589. He did for a short space of time, hit pole position at one point, and he is currently looking to reclaim that position back as he hops over the first of the Degners, over to the second Degners, heading up towards that hairpin bend at the top of the hill. And as he does so, takes it real smooth and wants a nice exit here into second. Power out of the curb, head round the right-hander, the swooping right-hander, heading towards the spoon curve, where you'll have to judge this now perfectly as he makes his way around and just brushes the curb on the inset and powers out of it as well, heading down towards the backstretch. And he's looking real strong as he makes his way down. Real good time this is going to look now as he gets his way towards the 130R. What's he going to do here? Is he going to brush that curb? Just brushes it. Real quiet like as he comes round towards the chicane, heading towards now as he hops over the Casio Triangle, heading towards the last curve and making his way around. A little bit of wheel spin as he makes his way around 127.508, sorry, and nails P2 and knocks Marco Kriesman down to P3. A nice lap from Andre Deloku. He's on the front row of the grid for now. We're into near 2.5 minutes left here in qualifying. And looks like Andre is just going to let another car through by looks of it. Looks like Marco Kriesman is on his outlap as well. Let's see if he's going to be baying for blood after not being knocked off his perch in this race as he makes his way around towards the Dunlop curve. And he's going to be looking to improve on his lap time. He's currently showing in P3 with a 127.519. And we all know how capable Marco is. Qualifying last time for him at Russia was pretty good, to say the least. And he comes round the hairpin bend looking for a nice tidy exit now as he makes his way around. And he'll make his way towards the spoon curve. He's just got to get through this swooping right-hander at the moment. And he'll be faced with the spoon curve now as he makes his way around, going very careful on the power, brushes the curbs there, comes back round. What's he going to do here? He comes up to the back stretch and now powers out, ready to tackle this backstretch, like we said, heading towards the 130R. And he is flying, absolutely flying, trying to improve on this. He is on his outlap. I didn't realise that. Sorry, guys. I thought he was on a fast lap according to my telemetry. Had a bit of a mare there. Sorry, folks, watching at home. But we will be catching him on his fast lap any second. Just looking through. I think we'll stick with... well, saying that, MNT Yone is out on his fast lap as well, so we'll keep an eye on him and then we can pop up to Marco Kriesman. So let's look at MNT Yone, the championship leader, currently going around the hairpin bend, heading towards this swooping right-hander, and later will find himself onto the spoon curve. Andre Deloku has actually finished for qualifying now as we are heading into the final minutes here of qualifying. Squeaky bum time is upon us, ladies and gentlemen, as MNT Yone has now headed towards the backstretch. What's he going to get here? His teammates just in front of him, so will Alex Musica let him by? Well, he has no choice really. He's gone by him anyway, MNT Yone. He is currently on a 114, heading around that bend, heading towards the chicane. What's going to happen here? What sort of entrance and exit will he get here, MNT Yone, as he makes his way around this bend? And it's the backstretch. What's he going to get here on the home straight? Is it going to be strong? It's a 127 point... Well, to be fair, he didn't better his original time, so he's staying in P4 for now. Let's have a look at Marco Kriesman, who is coming round the spoon curve, heading towards the backstretch now. So what's he going to notch together? He's currently on a 105, looking pretty strong. LL Limbo just lets him by. Very gentlemanly of you, sir, if I say so myself, as he makes his way around the 130R. And very steadily brushes that curb again, heading towards the chicane now. What sort of entrance is he going to get? Just brushes over the top. Very nice exit. Good entrance, good exit. Heading round, and he's not going to nail a time. So that's it. That looks like Jaquita at this stage could get pulled. As Table Clan comes across the line, he finishes in P6. Unless someone else can put a dent in it. Pedro is still out on the track. And we got Pit Matt, who's just put in a lap. He's gone into P9. Pedro, who's currently showing in P8, he's out on his fast lap at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on him as he makes his way around towards the spoon curve. What's he going to do here? As he makes his way around, good entrance, good exit here. Makes his way around, just brushes the back curb with his rear wheel. Comes around, he's on the back stretch now, heading towards... we'll head towards the 130R, heading towards the chicane then, where he'll have to judge his exit, his entrance and exit very carefully. He comes in, does very well. Oh no, he doesn't. Unfortunately, he's choked there a little bit, and unfortunately, that's going to really cause a hiccup in his time. I'm not sure if there's anyone else putting in a fast lap. Emerald Basti, he's putting in a fast lap. What's he going to get here as he comes across the line? It's a 128.174, and that is a slight improvement. He's up to 12th. LR Sloss, I'm trying to look around to see if there's any others around for us. Just looking around now. Alex Musica just about to come across the line. I think that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be our grid here, I believe, for the Japanese Grand Prix. Jack Eater nailing pole for Mercedes here and giving himself another chance to seek redemption here at Suzuka after that disappointing performance at the Russian Grand Prix. But we'll just go through the order now. In pole position, Jack Eater for the Mercedes team. Andre Deloku in the Williams in P2. Marco Kriesman for Renault in P3. MNT Yone in P4 for the McLaren team. VRT Aero in P5. And then you've got Table Clan P6. LR Slimbo P7. Pedro in P8. Pitmat P9. Zelenki in P10, Alex Musica P11, Emerald Basti P12, LR Sloss P13, the Swedish Dynamite is P14, and as we look down the grid, we got Joker the Gamer P15 and Ioka09 in P16. It certainly does bode well for a classic race here at Japan. I look forward to seeing you guys at the start. I hope you guys are enjoying it at home, sitting comfortably, getting ready for the start here of this AOR race with Hype Energy in this F3 PS4 League race. Keep it with us, ladies and gentlemen, as we're about to head out on the formation lap. The drivers are just getting themselves ready. I hope you guys are all say hello in the chat if you guys are there, and we'll have a couple of shout outs, shall we? Let's get some interaction going, shall we? I can see quite a lot of support here for Marco Kriesman. Mia Kumar, go Marco Kriesman. Nicole Muller, Marco Kriesman. Come on, Andreas. Andreas has got some support from Samek99. Nicole Muller, yes. Obviously must be following Marco Kriesman. But yeah, like I said, please drop your comments in the chat box, and we'll be keen to hear from you guys as well. And also, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel, to the AOR Apex Online Racing Hype Energy channel, and we'll look forward to seeing more from you as time goes on. But yes, we just had EPRS Thompson. Go Aero indeed. As they about to start the formation lap now. Jaquito will be leading them around the circuit. This gives us an opportunity to just go through the circuit in its entirety. So I'll just take you around just to show you where the drivers will be going today. So they first have to undertake that first corner, that sweeping right-hander. They then have to get back on the power then, heading towards the left hand, leading into the snake. And this will then lead them towards the anti-bank curve. Now remember, you've got to be careful on these winding corners. Apply the power effectively. Don't be too hard on it, because what'll happen is you'll lose traction and spin out. They'll then make their way round the Dunlop curve, and they'll then want to spring back on the power, then heading towards the Degner corner. Some people like to put their foot off the gas for this one as they reach. They want to drop down to about third here as you head up towards the straight, towards the main hairpin. And as they do so, this is where you want to drop down to around second to get a nice exit here and power up the hill heading towards the spoon curve. Incidentally, Suzuka's been akin for giving us a lot of fascinating races here at, certainly at this track. I mean, we've seen over the years, the likes of Michael Schumacher, the battles with him, Mika Hakkinen over the years, obviously Lewis Hamilton, Rosberg, loads of them. They've all done battle here. It's been one of the biggest races on the calendar, and it's always been one of my personal favourites as well, as Chiquita makes his way on the backstretch, heading down towards the 130R left-hand bend, which will lead them across to the chicane, which is also known as the Casio Triangle chicane. If you think of Casios, it's not calculators, this is a corner. And they'll make their way then around the final curve and situate themselves into their grid positions. But they all seem to be going around okay. Just to say, we've got 3 drivers on the mediums here for this race. MRL Basti, Swedish Dynamite and Alex Musica are all on medium tyres. It'd be really interesting to see what these guys can do here as these guys begin to line up now. The drivers begin to line themselves up on the grid, ready for the start of this Japanese Grand Prix. Keep it with us, folks. It's going to be a corker as the drivers line up. Show us your support in the chat if you haven't already. It's going to be a good one. Start cheering on your drivers, ladies and gentlemen. The lights are about to go out. We're going to be following Jackie Deere at the start. Let's see what happens. Can he maintain that P1 position in front? Let's find out. And the lights are about to go red here at Japan. There's the first one, the second, third, fourth, fifth. And it's pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go. Here in Japan, and Jaquita gets away well. Andreas De Loco with a keen start comes in behind him and slots in behind. Marco Kriesman gets a better start than he did in Russia and goes in behind. He's in third place. MNTO moves up. Just to say, Pedro's moved up to P7. Great move from him as they come round towards the snake. These guys are going to be quick. Pedro picking and taking names out there. And Toro Rosso 6-pack of VRTero. LR Slimbo moves up to P7. Absolutely phenomenal racing as they come around the Dunlop curve. And Swedish Dynamite has moved up a place as well. Lots of activity at the back of the grid. But Marco Kriesman will be happy with that better start than he had at Russia. He is currently situated in P3. Zenki has moved up to P8 after taking pit mat. And these two, a little bit of shakiness there from Zenki as they come round towards the hairpin bend, and Jaquita leads them round. It's him in front. We got Andreas De Loco in P2, so it's Mercedes first, Williams in second, Marco Kriesman in the Renault in third, MNT Young, the championship leader, in P4 for McLaren, and in behind these we've got Table Clan. Mercedes not getting a bad start here at all. They got a P1 and a P5 so far. They're looking incredibly strong as things stand as they head towards the back stretch to complete lap 1 here of this 27-lap race. And it's still Jaquita just looking down the grid to see if there's going to be any further changes here as Joker the Gamer has made a move here on Alex Musica. They're making their way around the left-hand bend, heading towards the Casio Triangle chicane, and Joker the Gamer Yoke the Gamer has managed to move up. I believe this is his debut race as well, so a great showing from him as Jaquita. There's been chaos. VRTero is out of the race. Absolute scenes here, and we've had some early entrance into the pit. I don't know what happened there, but he just seemed to have lost control, slid sideways. He's lost his front tyre. That's a DNF for the Toro Rosso driver. Unfortunate for him, but as we look at Table Clan all over the back of MNTO, remember these two are up the higher end of the championship. You're looking at P1 and P4 there in the championship. The gap is only so much as around 40 points as things stand. And as they come round now, they'll be heading towards the last of the Degners, and making their way around towards the hairpin bend at the back of the track, and head towards this long stretch, this swinging right-hander heading towards the spoon curve. Just looking down towards the back of the grid, Emerald Basti, he's all over the back of pit mat as well. There's quite a train of cars here. Just looking at Pedro as well. He's just coming around looking for a bit more traction than that as he makes his way around. And not much showing from him. Marco Kriesman, he's still in touch here with Andre De Loco, who is currently in P2. Marco Kriesman looking reasonably strong there and comfortable in P3. He's got a 7/10 gap there away from Yon, who is dropping back a bit slightly as they come around the Casio Triangle chicane. And not a lot going on here with Slimbo just pulling up that gap with Pedro. It's a relatively quiet race so far as they make their way onto the home straight. So as things stand, looking at it, Mercedes in prime position here as we riding on board here with Table Clan, making his way around the sweeping curve. He had a great race at Russia last time out, netting a points place position for Mercedes, obviously making up for Jaquita's misfortune in that race and garnering some extra points. Jaquita certainly making up for that as things stand, currently on P1. Marco Kriesman trying to pull at that gap against Andreas De Loco. He is currently half a second behind the Williams as things stand. They come around the first of the Degners, heading into the second lot of Degners, and they'll then be heading up towards the swinging left-hander hairpin. They call that hairpin as they come around to the back end of the track. And Jaquita getting a good exit off that. He has managed to pull clear of around about 1.2 seconds, has the Mercedes driver. And Marco Kriesman starting to eat away slowly at that time between him and Andreas De Loco, as they swing around the spoon curve now, and these two really getting together now as they make their way around towards the back straight. Now this is a chance here for Marco Kriesman. He could whack essentially the RS to overtake here and have a go at this Williams as he makes his way round the 130R corner. What's going to happen here as they come up towards the Casio Triangle chicane? Is there going to be a move made? No, he's holding back for now, but it doesn't stop him from gaining a bit of traction here as Andreas De Loco does sort of cut the corner there a little bit as they make their way around towards the home straight. And you never know, he might get a chance here as M&T Young nails the fastest lap. Marco Kriesman having a look here on the outside of Andreas DeLoco, and he captures P2. An excellent move there from Marco Kriesman to net that position as they make their way around towards the Snake Bends onto the outset of Sector 1. And they'll soon be coming into Sector 2 proper after the Dunlop curve. And Marco Kriesman making a name for himself already in this race by netting that P2 position. And he'll storm a little bit, storm clear now from Andreas DeLoco, who's currently half a second behind him as they come round the first and second Degners, making their way up towards the hairpin bend at the back of the track. M&T Young also coming into this race. He's currently in P4. Not far behind the championship leader. He's still in touch. There's not a lot of gaps in, there's quite a tiny gap in between each of these cars at the moment. Not a lot separates them, and it really does highlight the quality of drivers we do have here at AOR F3, which is brilliant to see as Table Clan makes his way around the Spoon curve here in lap 4 of 27. We do have a yellow flag in Sector 1. I'm not sure what's happened there, whether Alex Musica's had a little issue, and I believe he has. He is ghosting out as far as I can see, and he has dropped back. He must have had a little slip on those fresh soft tyres as Jaquita whips them round now, heading towards the back, towards the curve there, heading towards the home stretch. And Jaquita nails the fastest lap, so is Marco Kriesman. So Marco Kriesman really trying to put the pressure on here to nail Jaquita early in this race as they make their way around the first corner, the curve. Well, as they rise up to the snake, shall I say. And they'll tackle this winding circuit now. And Andreas DeLoco all over the back of M&T Young, I didn't realise, has taken his spot in P3. So Andreas DeLoco really suffering at the moment with position loss. He has dropped down to P4. And M&T Young, the championship leader, trying to get himself into this race proper and fight it out with the two in front of him there. So Andreas DeLoco has got some work on his hands because Table Clan is right behind him as well. Whether there's some damage on that, Williams, I'm not sure, because he seems to be dropping back an exponential rate. And the Mercedes drivers could, really pick up some points here if they can maintain this. As we got a little bit of a potential scrap on here as Table Clan swerves round the right hand. Sort of bendy corner, makes his way around the Spoon curve. What's going to happen here as they make their way around it? They've got to judge the power perfectly here. Table Clan looking quite strong as they make their way around as Zenki gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. They're on the back stretch now, heading towards the 130R left bend. And this will head down. LR Sloss picking up a 3-second time penalty. So already we're seeing quite a few penalties being thrown about here as they head towards the Casio Triangle. And M&T Young going out there a little bit, lost a little bit of shape going into that one, and that'll allow Andreas DeLoco to have a look at getting his position back here. He whacks on the DRS, and surely he's going to have the DRS showing here as the Williams has a look down the outside of the McLaren as they make their way down towards the first corner, and he does it. He's taken P3. Andreas DeLoco getting revenge, and Pit Matt has now taken on Zenki to take P8 here in this race as well. So Williams getting a double overtake in lap 6. Phenomenal scenes here. And great driving from the two Williams drivers. Table Clan now in P5. He's got M&T Young in front of him. He's seeing all this unfold, and surely he must be having a sit back here, waiting for the opportune moment, because obviously, as they're scrapping it out, it shortens the time gap. And Pit Matt there has managed to overtake. There's been an instant. LR Slimbo has come off as well, and he's sacrificed 3 positions. Pit Matt's moved into P7. Zenki has moved into P8. Emerald Basti in P9. So LR Slimbo must have had a little bit of a crisis there going around the Degners, and unfortunately span off. As we make our way back up to Table Clan, who has got M&T Young in his sights here. Remember, Young Sim Racing is M&T Young. He is top of the Drivers' Championship here as Pedro picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. They're on the back stretch now, heading towards the 130R, and there's been an incident in Sector 2. I don't know what's happened there. I'm looking around. I can't see anything at this stage as they come round to the Casio Triangle chicane. Now, Table Clan could have a look here as they come around here. We've got M&T Young. They're all in close proximity to each other. So M&T Young could have a look here if he's keen on having a look. If he thinks he has enough pace, he can really go for it. As he has a little look, the DRS, and the DRS is piped in there, but great defensive work there from Andreas DeLoco there to maintain that as they go around the first bend. Pedro, meanwhile, has managed to get himself approximately 0.3 seconds behind Table Clan. So he's managed to pull some time back as well due to all the battles ahead. And we've lost Loka as well. So that's unfortunate. That's a DNF for the Renault team. So that's we're already losing people here. Obviously misjudging the corners because, like I said, it can easily throw you out. And we've got a virtual safety car here, which means the gap between each of these cars is going to be very, very slim. Which means we could be seeing battles all over the place here. So Jack Heater is going to have to get his delta pace down and group the grid back up. And as we can see, Ps3, 4 and 5 and 6 are already grouped quite well together. But this gives the chance to Pit Matt and Zenki to bring that gap back in, so they can effectively have a challenge at those positions as well. So lots going on here in the early stages of the Japanese Grand Prix. Very exciting indeed. As they make their way around. I've just been notified there's no damage on Andreas's car, so obviously not showing after he took back that P3. So great work from him to do that. I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone who's tuned into this evening. Obviously the safety car has finished now as they make their way around, and we're following here Table Clan. They're now back up to racing speed. They're making their way around the Casio Triangle chicane, heading towards the home stretch. M&T Yone and Table Clan's going for a pit here at lap 8. So those 6 lap softs, he must have pitted already, so he's coming in for a change here. And as they do so, just looking down the grid, Pedro's made a change as well, so those two will be making tyre changes. So the gap's increased between all the drivers now. Yoke the Gamer, who's having his first race here, he's currently in behind LR Slimbo, closing the gap there too. Half a second. Swedish Dynamite is a second behind him. Table Clan's just come out. He's about 13 and a half seconds in behind Swedish Dynamite. So on those fresh mediums, he should have no problem notching together another, should we say, 18 laps. So he could finish on this tyre, which could put him in reasonable condition here towards the end of this race, depending on what happens with strategies further up the grid. But just looking ahead, Zenki is closing the gap on Pit Matt, who is in P5 at this moment in time. The Alfa Romeo closing the gap quite sharply here on the Williams as they make their way around the curve, heading towards the spoon curve. Are we going to see a challenge on here on the back stretch, or will they save it until the home straight as they make their way around this bend? Zenki with a little bit of rear wheel spin there. Looked like he lost the back end there quite considerably, and that meant that Pit Matt has managed to gain a bit of that time back, as LR Slimbo has also managed to draw himself back into it with Emerald Basti just only 0.8 seconds behind him. Yoke the Gamer notching away at that time as well, pulling himself in to 0.6 seconds at this stage. They make their way around the final bend, and just to say, Zenki's come in, Pit Matt's come in, sorry, and Zenki's moved into P4. So lots of changes here in sort of like the pit in the position order here, as M&T Yone has also come in. So the championship leader also coming in for a fresh set of tyres, and he's just about to exit now on fresh mediums. So the strategy certainly seems to be two-stop strategy, try and finish on the medium. One-stop strategy, try and finish on the mediums. So is that going to be the answer to this race? We'll soon find out. Table Clan up into P9 on those medium tyres. So you know, he's slim with a shout. He's just made his way. He's got M&T Yone, though, who's just come out the pits on those fresh mediums as well. So nothing will separate these two as they make their way around the Dunlop curve. And they'll head to the first of the Degners now. Round the second Degner, heading towards the hairpin bend around the back of the circuit. And these two will obviously be battling it out. It's going to be quite personal between these two, because obviously they're in contention for the championship. Obviously, Table Clan with a little bit more work to do. We've still got a few races left, of course, in the championship at the moment, with only 4 races remaining, because we still have Mexico, USA, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi, obviously, as our finale to end here. So plenty of twists and turns available here, guys, depending on what happens in the classifications of the final 4 races, as well as this one here today. So we'll soon find out as they make their way on the back stretch. M&T Yone looking to come back now and come back at Table Clan as they make their way towards the Casio Triangle chicane. As they do so, Table Clan hopping over the first of the chicane corners, coming round the final corner towards the home straight. He's getting DRS here, M&T Yone, so will he have an opportunity here to close the gap on the Mercedes of Table Clan? The Silver Arrows trying to maintain his position here, but he won't look at it this time. It's just merely a case of pulling the time gap back, and Andreas Deloku, who's just exited the pit, has managed to maintain a P6 position, and Marco Kriesman has got P5. So as things stand, Marco Kriesman is in the net lead of this race. Can he get a race win here today at the Japanese circuit there in the Renault car? Excellent strategy there from him to maintain that, and on those fresh mediums surely can last the 17 laps remaining in this race to make this strategy work for him. We'll soon answer that question as we head into the latter stages of this race. As we look down the grid, M&T Yone and Table Clan look to be the two drivers that are in close contention. LR Slimbo, though, has also got a bit of a battle here because he's got Pedro just in front of him and he could do something here. Just seen LR Sloss has retired as well, so we got yet another DNF, and that's the Red Bull of LR Sloss out of the race as we head round now towards this little winding bend, and Pedro has got LR Slimbo all over the back of him as they come around the spoon curve, and it depends on who gets the better exit here. Can Pedro handle the pressure here of LR Slimbo as they make their way on the back stretch? Will he get the RS power here on the back stretch and try and whittle away at that time in front of him? Can he get in the slipstream? No, not this time, but he will close the gap. They're coming up towards the Casio Triangle chicane, and as they do so, who's going to get the better exit out of these two, the Alfa or the Ferrari, as they make their way around? He's going to get DRS on the home straight now as they make their way around. What's LR Slimbo going to do here? And we've had a little bit of a change up here, but as we look round, LR Slimbo has made a move here on the outside of the Alfa, and he does so! What a lovely move there by the prancing horse. That is the Ferrari. He moves up into P10, and Slimbo will take that position for the Ferrari team. Pedro unfortunately unable to counteract that one as they make their way around the winding snake corners and heading up towards the Dunlop curve after the anti-banked curve. And just looking ahead now, M&T Yone and Table Clan still fighting it out as they come up towards the hairpin bend at the back of the course. Just to say, Table Clan beginning to knock at Andreas Deloku's gap as well. That gap is now only just under 0.4 seconds, or just over 0.4 seconds. They make their way up towards this stretch of track, heading towards the spoon curve. And as they do so, Andreas Deloku still maintaining that gap, but it's all going to be telling here as they come on to the back stretch. Will Table Clan get that ERS up to overtake and try and close that gap even further as they make their way along the back stretch? Just looking ahead now, he's still got plenty of ERSs, Andreas Deloku, as they make their way towards the Casio Triangle chicane. They hop over it. Table Clan just sitting perched in behind him. He'll get DRS here. Will he be able to make an overtake as Marco Kriesman notches together a 1:30.943 to get fastest lap of the race so far? He is now in P4 now, and he is closing to Jack Eater, who is actually, sorry to say, Jack Eater is on P3 and in the net lead of this race, should I say. He has managed to get in the pits and do the undercut and take P3, so that could mean, as he's only got a 4-second gap, 3-second gap, shall we say, behind Swedish Dynamite, he could take P1 in this race. Marco Kriesman in net P2. Andreas Deloku and Table Clan and Yone all fighting it out here. And Andreas picks up a 3-second time penalty, which amongst these three could be crucial at the end of this race as they make their way around the hairpin on the back stretch here. And they'll soon be making that little bit of road, that trip up towards the spoon curve. And it's still, as we said before, Jack Eater, who's in P3, Marco Kriesman P4. These are our net leaders. We're bound to see MRL Basti and Swedish Dynamite pitting very, very soon. Just looking ahead now, Swedish Dynamite and MRL Basti just coming up towards the Casio, Triangle chicane. Will they be pitting now? Because obviously those medium tyres eventually are going to need to be changed. MRL Basti doesn't choose to. Neither does Swedish Dynamite, so they're staying out. So Jack Eater will still be behind these cars, but he's only just under 3 seconds behind them. Marco Kriesman only 2 seconds behind him. Looking further back now, we are seeing M&T Yone, who's got the DRS here on Table Clan, but because Table Clan's got DRS on Andreas Deloku, that gap isn't shortening up any much more. So I'm sure Table Clan will be quite willing to get rid of Andreas Deloku as soon as possible to at least get some breakaway from M&T Yone if that's what he's thinking. Andreas Deloku is still trying to make his way back, though he's not picking away at much of the time between him and Marco Kriesman, which is currently around 3.2 seconds. But just looking back even further, just noticing there's still a battle undergoing here between Pedro and LR Slimbo. There's only half a second separating these two as well as they come round the first of the Degners, heading around the second of the Degners. As they stand to looking at the championship tables, Mercedes currently showing on P1 in the constructors' standings, and this will remain to be if Mercedes can pick up the lot of points here that they are forecast to take at this stage in this race. We are in lap 13. We are near the midpoint of this Japanese Grand Prix. Ferrari, who could do with some better points in this race. Obviously, Slimbo is their only representative here in this race today. They're currently towards the back end, around 9th in the constructors' standings as things stand. Red Bull just ahead of them. Obviously, they've had their only driver DNF this afternoon. As looking ahead is Pedro's making a move here as they make their way around the 130R, heading their way towards the Castillo Triangle chicane, and the Alfa Romeo manages to take it here. But this won't be the last we see from this, because LR Slimbo will have the DRS around the home stretch here as he makes his way around. He opens up the back and he's about to make his move here on the Alfa Romeo. Will he get him again? He makes his way around. LR Slimbo round the inside, makes his way around the first corner, and as he does so, takes back P10. Lovely dogfight in between these two drivers, makes phenomenal TV, great watching, and LR Slimbo has had his cake, he's thrown the box away and he's recycled it, taking it home. A great move from the Ferrari driver as they make their way around the snake bends. He's got Zenki ahead of him, but he's got about 3 seconds to find on that Alfa Romeo, so he's sandwiched between two Alphas as things stand. We look up and Swedish Dynamite, I think, must have had an incident there, and he has, and that means that Jack Keaton moves up into P2, leaving only MRL Basti ahead of him, and that must have caused a little bit of an upset, because that gap between Jack Keaton and MRL Basti has increased of sorts to around about 3.1 seconds, so Jack Keaton really got to pull the guns out here. Well, saying that, he probably doesn't have to, because I'd imagine with MRL Basti's pit stop, that should soon eat away at that gap and mean that Jack Eater will take the lead of the race. Just incidentally, though, Marco Kriesman is still 2 seconds behind the Mercedes, and Andreas Stoloku still 3.5 seconds back. Table Clan is only half a second in behind Andreas Stoloku as they come around the stretch. He's still in DRS range, so he's able to take the pressure off M&T Yone, obviously with that DRS, because just looking ahead now, Zenki's had a bit of a move here on Swedish Dynamite because he's in the pits, and so Pitmat is now at the mercy of Zenki, who is now making his way around the first corner. Pitmat probably going a little bit wider than he would have liked, but it's okay. They're making their way around the snake bends now, heading their way towards the anti-bank curve, and Pitmat has got a Alfa Romeo all over his gearbox now as they make their way up towards the Dunlop curve and making their way around. We'll leave these two for a minute because we're going to look up because M&T Yone is starting to put some pressure on Table Clan as they make their way towards the hairpin bend. Are we going to see a move here or not? Is he going to hold back? Yes, he's going to hold back. Is he going to try and favour a better exit? I think he does get a better exit, to be fair, as he makes his way around. Will he be able to stick it in ERS mode and challenge Table Clan for an overtake as they make their way around towards the spoon curve? I don't think he's going to go for it. They just enter the spoon curve now. Very easy on the power as they make their way around now. These two battling it out here as they make their way around towards the back stretch. Not a lot between these two drivers as Table Clan tries to send himself on his way here. He's only got 12% ERS, so the McLaren of M&T Yone can really capitalise here. And as he makes his way around the outside, are we going to see an overtake here as we head towards the Castillo Triangle chicane? And the McLaren driver did have a little look there, but the Mercedes driver shut the door, and but it doesn't matter because he's going to have DRS as Marco Kriesman notches together yet another fastest lap of 1:30.896. So phenomenal driving, and as he makes an overtake here, it's M&T Yone, the championship leader, round the inside, takes him round the first corner, so the McLaren manages to take over the Mercedes at the first bend as they head into the snake, and manages to move up to P5. Great driving from him, and he'll now move ever so closer to Andres Soloco in P4. But just looking ahead, like we said before, Marco Kriesman has managed to get a fastest lap, and not only that, he has halved the deficit between him and Jack Eater to 1.5 seconds, so he is really eating away at that time now. I'm not sure what's changed, but that Renault is starting to run like the wind now and make his way around the hairpin bend. He'll then have that bit of a straight to check and make his way around the swooping spoon curve that they'll be tackling now very, very shortly. Jack Eater, incidentally, is only 0.8 seconds behind MRL Basti, who is still in P1 and still yet to pit on those 15-lap medium tyres. They can last a little bit longer, but I don't see what the benefit of him doing that is. Naturally, obviously, it's going to give others an opportunity to close the gap on their fresher tyres, and surely it'd be more sensible for him to pit at this moment in time as we follow Marco Kriesman as he makes his way towards the Casio Triangle chicane. And he's got Jack Eater in view here. Now Slimbo has made a move on I think on Zenki. These two having a look at each other. I think Zenki actually managed to overtake Slimbo there. I thought they yeah, they have. Yeah, he's managed to reclaim his place back. So I'm not sure what happened there, because there's a massive gap in between them now of 4 seconds. So there must have been an issue or something. I'm not sure, but I don't know what happened there. But Jack Eater now is only half a second behind MRL Basti, so this one will move him into the real lead of the race here. So can he do it? Can the Mercedes Silver Arrows notch himself into P1 here as they make their way around towards the Degner bends? And as they do so, they're coming in towards the second Degners now, heading towards, and Pedro's retired. We lost Pedro, so that's one of the Alphas out. So that leaves Zenki on his own as they come round the hairpin bend. Oh, just locking up there was Jack Eater as he came round with MRL Basti around the hairpin bend. He locked up a little bit, but it doesn't matter. He's still got him in his sights as they head up on the stretch. And MRL Basti's tyres surely are wearing away as we speak as they come round the spoon curve. MRL Basti perhaps losing a little bit of traction there as they come round. Jack Eater looking the stronger on those fresher tyres as they head on the back straight. Will he whack in the ERS into overtake and have a pop at him here as they make their way around towards the next corner, which will be the 130R corner, the left-hander. And as he does so, I don't think he's going to overtake him this time, but surely it's going to happen on the home stretch if MRL Basti does not pit as they make their way around now towards the home straight around the corner. MRL Basti does go into the pit, which means that Jack Eater takes the official lead of the race, and that will mean that Marco Kriesman, Andreas Tiloco and MNT Yohn will take their positions in the front of the grid, in the front of the classification as things stand. We are in lap 18 of 27. We're only got 9 laps remaining. It is now reaching the point of squeaky bum time, ladies and gentlemen, here in this race. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves at home. Please cheer on your guys in the chat. The drivers you want to see win here today, please post them below. Also, who do you think was your driver of the day? Please post that below as well. We'd be interested to see what you guys think. As Andreas Tiloco makes his way around the curve here, and we're just seeing Marco Kriesman has managed to shrink that gap between him and Jack Eater to less than a second as they make their way towards the hairpin bend at the back of the track. Coming round now on the exit, gets a reasonable exit, makes his way around this little right-hander. These two are going to be going great guns here as they make their way around the spoon curve. Now this is going to be interesting. These two are very strong drivers. Jack Eater now taking that spoon curve. He enters it. Is he going to get a good exit? He certainly does. So does Marco Kriesman. So these three making their way around because Andreas is just behind them too. So we've got a Mercedes P1, a Renault P2, a Williams in P3, and Mercedes P4. So Mercedes looking incredibly strong here, as we've said before. The only other team that are in close contention are Williams with a P3 and a P6, which will help their points without a shadow of a doubt as they make their way down towards the Casio Triangle chicane and head out onto the final corner, which will lead them on to the home straight now. And this will then see them start lap 19 of 27 as we follow Table Clan around the first corner. Just looking ahead though, Marco Kriesman still maintaining that 1 second gap between him and Jack Eater as they make their way around the snake bends now. And these two are going to be gunning it out and fighting it out for this notable finish here at Japan. Jack Eater there with a gap of 1 second to Marco Kriesman. 3.2 seconds separate Marco Kriesman, Andreas Tiloco in P3. And P4 Table Clan, who is another 2.7 seconds behind Andreas Tiloco. MNT Yohn, obviously only half a second behind Table Clan. These two have been fighting it out now for the last few laps. And surely there's more to come. Just to say, Pitmat has moved up into P6. His strategy has paid off reasonably well for him. MRL Basti has opted for soft tyres as well, just to notably say. So on those soft tyres, you'd expect him to eat up the rest of his grid. But can he make them last till the end of the race? I'm sure he can. He seems to be quite good at looking after the tyres, to be fair, because he did manage to get around about, I think, must have been, about 18 laps or 17, 18 laps on the medium tyres. So he didn't do all that bad on those, to be honest with you. As they come round now, we're looking at Marco Kriesman coming up to the final chicane with Jack Eater. Still that second gap maintaining itself here as they make their way onto the home stretch of the grid. Heading towards the first corner here, and he's got DRS on Jaquita, so he's not out of the woods yet, Jaquita, as they make their way around towards the first corner, and they'll then soon be tackling the snake bends as they make their way up now. Just to say that gap between MNT Yone and Table Clan has separated by about a second, so not a lot going on there, not a lot of close proximity dogfighting there as Amar Al-Bassi has overtaken LR Slimbo on the soft tyre. Those soft tyres really paying off for him now. He's got to make the most of them. Can he eat away at this field? He's only 3.5 seconds behind Zenki. You'd firmly expect him on these soft tyres to capitalise now that the mediums are seeing 10 laps. That could be an interesting strategy from Amar Al-Bassi, but give Racing Point a chance to really make a statement at the end of this race. He's still got 7 laps, plenty of time to really, you know, have a real go at these time gaps between him and the field ahead of him. It'll be interesting to see what he does as the race moves on. But just looking ahead, Marco Kriesman has managed to pull back the gap between him and Jaquita to half a second. So we could very well see soon a big battle between these two as they make their way round on the back stretch, heading towards the 130R bend, on like the swinging left-hand bend, which will lead them towards the Casio Triangle chicane yet again. And it'll be interesting to see what the Mercedes could do to hold back this Renault of Marco Kriesman, who has been notching fastest lap to combat Jaquita's laps as at this moment in time. There's now only 0.7 seconds separating them as they come down the home stretch. And Marco Kriesman looking for that slipstream air. As you can see, Jaquita trying to throw him off. But the DRS still helping him out to close that gap as they come around the first bend. Jaquita maybe losing a little bit of the back end of those tyres there as they come around the snake curves. And Marco Kriesman really trying to enforce a gap closure there as Amar Al-Bassi nails the fastest lap on those soft tyres of 1:34.88. A great lap from him, and he's managed to shorten that gap between him and Zenki to just over 2 seconds. So he hasn't done too bad there, but we're still on with Marco Kriesman and Jaquita, and Marco Kriesman unfortunately picks up a 3-second time penalty, which isn't going to help him at the end of this race, which is really unfortunate for him as they make their way towards the hairpin bend. M&T Yone has pulled back a little bit of time here, riding on board with him and just racing behind Table Clan as they come up to the hairpin themselves. And these two will be battling it out as well as they make their way towards the right-hander as Yoke the Gamer picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. M&T Yone currently 0.7 seconds away from Table Clan as they make their way around the spoon curve. Jaquita has still got Marco Kriesman behind him. They're not far separated now as they come up to the Casio Triangle chicane once again. And what's going to happen as they come over the curves? There's a very short gap here. Could we see an overtake here in the home straight as they make their way around? That gap is shorter than what it has been before. And Marco Kriesman, after that 3-second time penalty, will surely just be looking to really choke out the lap times on Jaquita as they come in the first curve. God, it's tight between these two now. We're now into the final 5 laps of this Japanese Grand Prix. Jaquita still trying to hold his nerve here in P1. Marco Kriesman in the Renault in P2. Really starting to choke out his time here. Andres Stoloku is now 4.4 seconds behind Marco Kriesman as things stand. So that gap is beginning to expand. And it looks like these two leaders are going to be battling it out for the finish here as they come round the bend and towards the last of the Degners, heading towards the hairpin bend. These two will be gunning for it here as we come towards the latter stages of Sector 2. Well, we're into, I believe, coming into, the latter stages of Sector 2 into Sector 3 shortly. And Jaquita is still paving the way, but it's only a 0.622 gap between him and Marco Kriesman as they head up towards the spoon curve. And what's going to happen here? Who's going to get the better exit as they come out here? Because it very could easily be, because Marco Kriesman has saved up 79% of his ERS here, and he'll have every chance here of closing that gap if he can put it in overtake, because Jaquita's only got 25%, and that gap is closing as they make their way towards the Casio Triangle chicane. These two are going at it as they head towards it. Is he going to have a go? Yes, he is. He's in too deep now. Goes in. What a great overtake there from Marco Kriesman. What's going to happen here? He's got the DRS as well. He's got gambled and it's paid off, and it means that Marco Kriesman is in the lead of the race with the DRS, and that will allow him to separate from Jack Eater ever so silently, and round the first corner they go. What an excellent move by the Renault driver. Absolute scenes here as we reach the final 4 laps here of the Japanese Grand Prix. Great driving from the Renault driver, and despite Jack Eater's excellent race leading up to now, Marco Kriesman has managed to pull it back here and get P1 off the Silver Arrows. Great driving from him. And let's see if he can hold on to it as he comes around the first of the Degners, around the second Degners. Again, he might have to pull off an increase in gap here, because obviously he picked up a 3-second time penalty. I'm not sure what the situation is with Jack Heater at the moment, if he's got the same sort of penalties at this stage. I am not so sure, as Marco Kriesman comes round the swinging right-hander heading towards the spoon curve, and he is starting to try and pull away here. He has got 76% ERS. Jack Heater, who's got 25%, he's going to have to really pull out the stops here. And just see him, we got a yellow flag in Sector 2, a 6 stand, so that's an issue there. Looking down, and there's been an incident here, and Emerald Basti's come off, and so's, I believe, Zenki, who's unfortunately, I think, DNF'd as well, so he's retired. So the Racing Point driver, who was going so fast on those softs, has now lost his left end plate, so major wing damage there, and his teammate Yoki the Gamer has gone past him on those mediums, so that pit, he is going to be devastated, because he was really making some serious moves on those soft tyres, and that means that Alfa Romeo are out of this race, which is a real shame. Just looking at the head as well, Jack Heater still not off. Just looking now, M&T Yone and Table Clan still battling it out. I think they went side by side earlier on, because there was only a little tiny fly's eyelash gap between those two. So lots of battles being all over the place, mainly between the championship leaders as things stand. As we follow M&T Yone around the Dunlop curve, heading round towards the first of the Degners. So him and Table Clan have really been going at it as of late, and they come round now towards the last of the Degners, which will lead them towards that major hairpin at the back of the track. Just to say, Emerald Basti has lost a place because he has gone in to change that front wing, and Swedish Dynamite has gone ahead of him as well. But the story here is Table Clan and M&T Yone, who are now gunning for each other here as they make their way towards the spoon curve. And what's going to happen here is they head towards the back stretch here. Who's going to get the better of each other as they come out? Because these two have been in close proximity for quite a few laps now as they head down. 62% ERS for M&T Yone as things stand. And looking ahead, the Table Clan has only got 12%, so very minimal there. So we could see an overtake here on the home stretch as they come down towards the triangle, the Casio Triangle chicane, and make their way around it. Table Clan still trying to maintain that position as M&T Yone, he'll whack in the DRS now. He'll whack it in overtake for sure and have a go at this Mercedes. This is probably one of his better chances. We only have a couple of laps remaining here at Suzuka, but he won't go for it. He doesn't have a chance. Great defensive work from Table Clan to muster every bit of speed he has left just to keep the McLaren from overtaking him. That's a great bit of work from him as they come around the Snake Bends, and they'll be making their way around now towards, well, round the anti-bank curve, round the Dunlop curve, and Table Clan still maintaining that 0.6 second gap between him and M&T Yone. So lots happening between those two. Just to say, Jack Heater, he's not out of it yet either, because he's only half a second behind Marco Kriesman. So we've still got very much a final battle is surely upon us as they make their way around that sweeping right-hander, and it'll soon lead them towards the spoon curve, that swinging left spoon curve. That'll make him go round towards the backstretch, and the Silver Arrows of Jack Heater will surely be looking for an overtake here as Marco Kriesman in the Renault is trying to maintain it, but Jack Heater has only got 15% ERS where Marco Kriesman has around 50%, so that won't help Jack Heater one bit at all. His only hope now is DRS in the home stretch as they make their way around now the final chicane, heading towards the final corner, and Jack Heater surely has got to whack in the DRS and try and find as much as he can out of this car to try and close the gap between Marco Kriesman and put some pressure on the Renault driver as we now make our way into the final couple of laps or so of this race. The final lap I believe it's the final lap of this race as Marco Kriesman comes around now onto the Snake Bends, making their way around towards the next corner, heading towards the Dunlop curve. And these two will be going at it now towards the Degners now. And Marco Kriesman notching together nearly a 9.9 second lead as they make their way around the second Degners. And they'll then find themselves heading towards the hairpin once again at the back of the circuit. And it definitely looks like these two are going to be gunning for it at the end of this race. Just to say, Andreas has managed to pull the gap back to 2.5 seconds, so he's done extremely well. And M&T Yoan also pulling the gap back as well on Table Clan. So we've got plenty of battles here upon us in the latter stages of this Grand Prix, and just keeping it with the two front runners now. Marco Kriesman, as Emerald Basti notches together a 129.615 after putting on, I believe, those fresh tyres once again, and with that change of wing has obviously helped him as well. So he's going for that fastest lap point as they make their way towards the final chicane. Marco Kriesman now takes it round the triangle, the Casio Triangle chicane, closely followed by Jaquita, who's only a second behind. Just to say, incidentally, he doesn't get DRS, so that's going to help Marco Kriesman pull away once more, and he'll make that lead over near 1.5 seconds. So looking ahead now, we've got M&T Yoan in behind these, and Table Clan's trying to keep him off him. That DRS is switched on as we head into the final lap. What's going to happen here as they make their way round? It's squeaky bum time here in the race as we're on the final lap. These two are going to be going hammer and tongs as they make their way around the Snake Bend. Table Clan has got a job in his hands here to keep this roving McLaren away from him as they make their way now around the anti-bank curve for the last time, and will head round the Dunlop curve, and it's going to be these two battling it out towards the end of this race. But as we look ahead now, Marco Kriesman pulling away to a 1.3 second lead as they make their way around the back hairpin bend. And they pace out again now. Marco Kriesman heading towards that swinging right-hander towards the spoon curve. Just looking back, M&T Yoan has closed the gap to Table Clan even closer now, and these two are going to be going for it on the back stretch. It's a job to know what to look at here, because obviously Marco Kriesman, all being well, will win this race depending on times, because I know, of course, he's got issues with penalties as he's on the back stretch. It's going to be interesting what to look at here. I don't really know where to look, because M&T Yoan is going to have a challenge here on Table Clan, surely, to claim P4 as they make their way around now. Marco Kriesman is about to make his way round the front of the grid, and that gap between M&T Yoan, they're going toe-to-toe here as they make their way around, and Marco Kriesman has finished. Has he won it? Yes, he has! Marco Kriesman has won the Japanese Grand Prix, but that's not the story here, as M&T Yoan around the side takes him, and he does! He gets P3, and Table Clan gets P4, so the championship leader gets a podium finish. Table Clan gets P4 for Mercedes, still a great achievement. Mercedes go 2 and 4 here, but Marco Kriesman wins the Japanese Grand Prix here at Suzuka. Jaquita, P2 for Mercedes. M&T Yoan, P3 for McLaren. Table Clan, P4 for Mercedes. Andres DeLoco and Pitmat, Ps 5 and 6 for Williams. LR Slimbo, P7. Yoke the Gamer with a pretty good first race here in this AOR F3 Championship in P8. And Swedish Dynamite P9 of Emerald Bassi, who picked the fastest lap, gets P10. Al Musica for McLaren will finish up in P11. Phenomenal racing here, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Those are your final standings here at the end of this race. What can I say? It's been an absolute phenomenal evening of racing here at the Japanese Grand Prix. It's been an absolute pleasure to call this race for you. We'll go through the final classifications as we head into the latter stages of this stream. I'd like to thank everyone for joining me tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the racing action, and hopefully you enjoyed the commentary. Apologies, I nearly lost my voice there going around the final corner. But they sprayed the champagne and all that. So Marco Kriesman wins here. Just looking at the final standings, we will announce it officially. And Marco Kriesman has won here at the Japanese Grand Prix and has taken P1. Jaquita P2 for Mercedes. M&T Yoan takes P3. Table Clan P4. Andres Soloku P5. Pitman P6. LR Slimbo P7. OK the Gamer P8. Swedish Dynamite P9. Emerald Basti P10. Alex Musica P11. Zenki P12. We got X Pedro in P13. Well, actually, that was DNF. Zenki, Pedro, LR Sloss, and also further down the grid, as we look down, Loca, Aero, all DNF'd as well as Sloss. So that's all we got time for, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks ever so much. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel here at AOR Hype Energy F3 League. It's been an absolute pleasure to call this race for you this evening. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully very, very soon. But from me, it's goodbye.